Welcome to Street Legal News. Street legal news and views. Actual news, actual rumors, and maybe something you heard in the bathroom. Saw written on the wall in the bathroom. We cover everything and all the events that we can vacuum into our information data. At a finite point in the universal space-time continuum, a cosmic event of cataclysmic proportion occurs. A rent in the fabric of the space-time continuum is torn asunder, as well as the interdimensional barriers are breached, causing effects to alter forever the status quo of the state of humanity's condition as we know it today.
I'm scared.
Our story begins.
I'm still scared.
So you think a hurricane's a big deal in the Gulf? Look what we're dealing with in an astronomical phenomenon.
Yeah.
But now back to the real important issues. One of the most important issues is there's a gentleman here that's moved back to Missoula, and he's got a great idea. He wants to have welcome to Missoula and have some touchy-feely artists do some nice things, which is not a bad idea. He goes to the mayor says, well, you know, this isn't that easy to do. So then he calls the mayor's secretary back and talks about, well, maybe this isn't going to be good PR or something. People are going to think it stinks. But what really ticked me off, this guy says what really honks me off is the people that the minute the light turns red, they honk. Obviously, he hasn't been here very long, because had he been here for any length of time, he'd realize that every time you're at a red light, everybody sits there. Maybe the first two bozos get off because one person's on a cell phone, the other person's scratching his ass, and the next person is looking the wrong direction. You have to honk or nobody gets through the light. I myself just yell out the window. I say, hey, you lame brain. You fill in the blank. Get your moving. And it works.
Yeah.
They think they got a wacko with a gun behind them and they haul ass. Of course, I refuse to carry a gun in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I carry a golf club. Does that count?
Yeah, well, a golf club works. I prefer knives in the car. They're quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, I mean, that really, this is something about Missoula. And one thing I forgot to get into on the last show was, why does the city have already made plans to turn the Rose Memorial Garden into a playground?
Yeah.
They spent our money, our taxpayers' money that we work hard for, that they just slip their hands into our pockets and rent from our bank accounts. I mean, this is BS. They should leave a memorial place for solitude and comprehension and philosophical contemplation of the lives that were sacrificed for our dumb asses today.
Absolutely.
And this is going to go on after 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Absolutely.
We have the freedom in this country because these people died fighting for our freedom, and these bozos want to turn it into a frickin' playground. They got a frickin' playground up at the Bonner Park. It's like, what is this touchy-feely crap?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
why did they invest so much money in some operation where somebody's made all these plans? Nobody's talked about anything. They bring the plans to our, well, as one person said, they consider watching the city council comedy equal to Monty Python.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Monty Python's a lot more entertaining than City Council.
Actually, they're both equally entertaining.
I don't think so.
Actually, it would be funny if it wasn't true. This is true. But anyhow, I think that we really need to stop spending all this money on all this happy horse hockey cosmetology bullshit. And now they want to charge 2% tax. We're already paying a 50-cent gas tax, and these bozos want 2% to fix the highways. Hey, folks, our tax dollars, that's what you're supposed to be doing. You shouldn't be taxing us 2 cents. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't even be taxing us with SIDs. The function of a city is police and fire protection. The rest of this happy horse hockey is add-ons. When you have the people getting more and more jobs, obviously because they're politically connected, helps somebody got elected, so they get a job. Mm-hmm. And the average median income for a person in the private sector the husband and the wife make $24,000 a year. If they're in the public, if they're, like they say, oh, we like to do public service. Get me off, you want to get on the public tit, okay? Because the average income from a married couple in the government sector is 150 grand. And we're making 24,000 supporting two bozos that are probably shuffling paper and sticking their nose up somebody's rectum for $150,000 a year. Now, why does that make any sense? It makes no sense to me. And I think really, at a finite point in the universal space-time continuum, a cosmic event of cataclysmic proportion has occurred.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
Yep.
absolutely.
And maybe we're going to get what we deserve. All of a sudden, it's going to go, and we're gone.
Well, that'll be God's judgment on
Oh,
for
that's
America for its
definitely
sins.
coming.
That's
God's judgment on earth. That's
God's
right.
absolute wrath.
That's right.
Absolutely, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, I agree with a friend of mine. He said it in high school years ago. The city council does nothing but, how did he say it? Pass stupid ordinances and make dumb laws. And he was 15 or 18 at the time, and he's right.
Hit the nail right on the head.
He was absolutely right. Absolutely right. And they still do, you know. They still do. He couldn't stand it. Yeah.
No, he couldn't say, yeah, I totally understand. How do you feel about this?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't really heard that much about this, but now that I'm hearing about the city council with the wanting to turn the playground,
Into a-
The
Rose Garden
Memorial Park,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, into a park. Yeah. I
you
mean,
know, and using our tax money for it, they're already
they've already spent our tax money.
yeah, they're already screwing us over with our tax money.
Just on the plans, yeah.
Yeah.
Our tax money needs to go to pay for the highway, needs to go to pay for all that kind of crap, the firemen, the police, all that, instead of going to single mother, transgendered black Muslims going to college for
Yeah.
a free ride.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. I totally agree with
All
that.
this political correctness.
Run that by me again.
I don't know if I can
Single
repeat it
mother,
exactly the right
single
way.
mothers. Yes, that was good.
Black,
That was-
transgendered, Muslim, single women or men, you know, for college tuition free or
There
something.
you go.
A free ride, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
And
see all these people coming in, all from different countries, getting a free ride in college, and then there's people here who are struggling with their tuition.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. That's right. I agree. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. Barely getting by, and we're just giving it away to people.
Yeah. If you even want to go to college, I wouldn't want to go to college. I hated high school because of the conformity, and I can't stand the indoctrination in college, the atheism, the homosexual indoctrination.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're forced to renounce your faith, basically, you know. Mm-hmm.
It's all
horrible.
Or
politically
else you're
correct.
racist
The
or
political
sexist
correctness,
or
yeah.
homophobic.
That's right.
Yeah, and I hate political correctness. A friend of mine described it very accurately. No nuclear weapon, no terrorist attack could have done more damage to this country than this political correctness.
I agree. Politically correctness. Everything is politically correct.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like they told my son when he was in elementary school, hey, if somebody hits you, you tell them, if you hit me again, I'm going to call an adult. Well, that's really smart. This
Yeah.
kid's out in the playground. I told the teacher, I told my son if somebody hits him, bam, he used to punch him right in the nose.
Yeah.
And if you, I told her on, this was at parent-teacher's night while he was in elementary school, I said, if you say one word to him, if that happens, I will sue you personally, and the teacher, and the school system, because what planet do you people live on?
Yeah.
I mean, you people are crazy. Oh, it's like we got to stop violence. I tell you what, if you don't stand up for yourself in the playground, you're meat for the whole 12 years of your school. You got to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
You can't do this wussy little politically correct BS, touchy-feely, let's feel good about ourselves.
Yeah.
Michael Savage has it totally right.
Absolutely.
Liberalism is a mental disease.
I love Michael Savage, and I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got. I have a friend of mine that had the Citizens for a Blacker Obama website, and he actually registered the website, and it was actually purchased for $5,000 by he doesn't know who, but we were guessing the Democratic National Committee. But I have my website, Barack Hussein Obama. What's behind the vacuum, behind the facade? I'm serious.
Yeah.
I mean, Rush Limbaugh recorded a press conference and left out the questions, and it was, I'll answer that second question. And he was playing this, and he played it all the way through the commercial to the end of his show, and he still had 2 minutes of burp. And this is, the man needs a teleprompter in front of his eyes that he can read. He's being run by a bunch of Marxists in the far left party that were, of course, trying to see who could be the most far left during the primaries. And now they got to weasel their way back into the centrist position to try and win the election. And it's like flip-flop and all this and all this. And it's like when somebody has X number of views that change day by day by day, it's not really that. It's not showing any kind of actual character or actual thought or even any actual ability or comprehension of the situation.
Exactly. And another thing about Barack Obama that a lot of people don't know, that just shows how much of a phony he is that up until the election, he went by Barry. Went by just, a regular kind of Anglican type of name. And just then when he started running, and it was, cool to be different, cool to be Middle Eastern. Then he decided to go by Barack.
Ah,
I did not know this.
I didn't either.
Well, the problem with Barack Obama, he's so far to the left, and people only know about him as change. A wonderful change is going to come.
Yada, yada,
Obama,
change,
but
yeah.
he is so far to the left. He's not as bad as Hillary was, but I'm worried that Hillary will become his running mate. That's basically the plan now. Have Hillary as the running mate. When he gets in, then Hillary kills Barack Obama, and she becomes president. That's what they want now. That's what the New World Order
All right.
is. And this is dangerous.
You got it sussed out. You're right.
Yeah, this is
But
dangerous.
I can guarantee you that they don't want Hillary and Bill in their administration if they win.
Oh, they would want them. I hope Barack Obama doesn't choose Hillary, but he's being pressured into it.
Well, it's like there's a picture of him sitting at a table, and there's all these white guys, and this is his bum bum ba bum bum ba bum ba bum ba bum. This is our foreign policy committee of consensus. That's the left wing. Everything has to be in consensus.
Yeah.
Our ex-vice president, who talks about there's scientific consensus, which is an oxymoron. There's no such thing as scientific consensus.
Yeah.
That's just a liberal left-wing deal. And this guy, he was a community organizer. Turns out that he was organizing one of the most actual over-the-line voter registration entities in Chicago. They didn't mention that part. I happen to know this because I listen to Rush Limbaugh once in a while.
Problem with Obama, he is so committed to the left. Again, he's for destroying our gun rights. I mean, all guns will have to be registered and trigger locks where you can't use them. If you need, if someone's breaking in, you cannot then unlock, the safe in that time.
Meanwhile, as your wife's being raped and your kids are being burned, you're trying to unlock your gun
and do the person can just whack you. I mean, it's just the same as not having a gun at all. He's all for the fairness doctrine, which means Rush Limbaugh and Michael Savage would be off the air.
Well, I don't see how they could go off the air. Why should they go off the air? They have Free America with George Soros in his deep pockets financing this black hole of non-information because Al Franken hasn't made money.
Well,
they couldn't sell his advertisement. That's why that one guy had to sell his radio station because nobody would buy his frickin' advertisement, so he had to bite the bullet on that. He could only go so many months given the Air America. Al Franken free ride. It was really funny when Al Franken tried to pet the dog, and the dog knew he was a worthless bastard because the dog wouldn't even come near him when he was down at the Wilma.
Al Franken's nothing but a failed comedian who someone just gave a microphone to.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, with the what was it? The fairness doctrine. If you're going to have, like, let's say, a pro-Second Amendment position, then you'd have to have a guest with a anti-Second Amendment.
Oh, that'd be great.
Really?
Well, think about it. No, but think about it. A liberal would have to actually sit there and justify his stupidity to an actual conservative with rational thought.
Not a bad idea. I see what you mean now.
In other words, it can make them assholes look dumber than people realize.
Interesting. I never thought that.
Yeah.
I never thought,
Let's just sit them down. We'll have a little meeting. Okay, you liberals, you want to come and have a fair doctrine? You got it. Let's put Pelosi. And let's put Baxter. And that Baxter's so stupid. When she was talking to the oil guy, she says, well, we're going to socialize. She meant to say nationalize. Is this the plan these left-wing people actually have? They want to nationalize the oil companies? I think it is, because they're so far left that
Yeah.
they're following this leftist agenda, and it's like the bozo Chavez. He's kissing Putin's ass now in Russia, and he's been slobbering up to Fidel Castro in Cuba and all this other crap. And he's got his Citgo oil company, which he stole from the Rockefellers and Exxon because they nationalized it. Nobody says that. Like, it's not his oil company. These dumbasses couldn't figure out how to build infrastructure
Yeah.
for oil extraction and refinement, okay? Neither did the Arabs. They were riding their camels around, screwing the goats and chasing little boys.
Yeah. That's the truth. Well,
Because they weren't allowed to have a woman unless they were married to her.
Yep.
They say some of the terrorist groups are actually practicing buggery in their little motels because they had no women.
yeah, I wouldn't
Before
surprise me,
they'd
yeah.
blow themselves up. What cracks me up is, you know what, guys? You're not going to get 72 virgins because no deity in their right mind is going to send you to heaven if you blow yourself up. If you blow up innocent people, the only 72 virgins you're going to get are the 72 people that haven't butt fucked anybody, and you're going to be bent over against the rail through eternity in Hades and hell, and wondering what in the hell happened.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
promised me 72 virgins. Well, you got your 72 virgins.
Yeah.
They didn't lie.
Absolutely. And then again, Obama is very much for homosexual marriage and homosexuality and abortion and
yes,
all.
that's-
I've read it gone on his website. I know his
sure.
views. You can do that. He's not an agent of change. He's just more of the liberal far left. And Michael Savage, I loved one of Michael Savage's programs when Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton were debating on, what was it, illegal immigration. And Michael Savage was listening to the debate, on the TV and making his own commentary, just saying, "Oh, I'm so angry at these two. I wish I could break something up about Barack Obama. Barack Obama says this. He's a coward. He can't believe with illegal immigration. What are you gonna do? I'm so mad I could break something." I loved it.
Oh, yeah, Savage is
Right?
awesome.
But I loved what he was saying. Yeah.
And you know what's really good is Dennis Miller. You listen to him on Sundays sometimes and Saturdays.
No, who's Dennis Miller?
He used to be in Saturday Night Live. He's a comedian. He used to be very liberal. After 9/11, he became really conservative. He likes Bush. And somebody asked him a question. What do you expect a politician to promise you if he gets elected? And he said, all I'm looking for is somebody to protect me from the whacked out Islamic fascist fundamentalists in the Middle East, and to take my tax money. I live in America. I love being in the best country in the world. Like Glenn Beck says, the reason everybody's trying to get into America is because everywhere else sucks. And that's Michael Savage probably understands that, but that's Glenn Beck's. I heard him say that, and he's right. And we don't have a workforce in this country. 43 to 50 million people were aborted for lazy people who couldn't practice birth control.
Yeah.
Yep.
They'd prefer infanticide.
Or they had.
How can a country even survive when you consider that they ignore their children and kill their children?
Yes.
This makes no sense. We have a compact, covenant with God when we were first formed as a union and as a nation.
Yes.
One nation under God.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm so sick of this left-wing ACL BS.
Yeah.
Because then that lady that was the Madeleine O'Hare.
Yeah,
She
the
was
American atheist.
she was actually interviewed, and she says, "Do you really believe that this happened without a plan?" And she actually said, "Yeah, there must have been a plan." So she's not really an atheist, but she made a big living off of being one.
She's dead
Just
now.
like I know her, her son killed her. Actually,
Yeah,
They haven't
she's
proved
probably
it yet.
burning in hell by now.
Probably. Let's
Yeah,
hope so.
I remember back in high school always getting made fun of for having any belief in
Anything.
in anything, and just I don't know. To me, it's just like the stupidest one of any belief is just the fact that, like, hey, all this stuff just happened randomly and for no reason.
Yeah.
It just happened to happen
Yeah.
this way.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And even a lot of scientists, some of them I can't remember who it was, but was looking into the Big Bang and all that, and just said there's no way this could have happened without intelligent design, and
That's
it was
right.
quietly swept under the rug.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Because God forbid, it's like Dick Gregory said, are you kids praying back there? And he said, no, we're telling dirty jokes. Okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
Dick Gregory is a very smart comedian. And another smart comedian who just passed on, God bless him, George Carlin.
Yeah.
He was the conscience of America as well. He had some pretty good ideas, and right now I wish I could remember one of them, but he basically has the same attitude. Our government is here for us.
Yeah.
There are people, but our government is not looking at themselves like that. They're looking at us like cash cows.
Yes.
The government they're working for us. We're not working for them, unfortunately. We are working for them.
Yeah.
The tax, the amount of money that they have to earn to even pay to get their own money back from taxes is incredible. The money that goes into the cockamamie BS that we do in this country just for the sake of whatever. And who knows? There's so many bureaucracies, and like somebody said, all these little left-wing deals that were set up under LBJ, those little bureaucracies are still existing and being paid for by taxpayers. And I think that why should somebody else get an education? They should get an education, but our citizens should get an education. And when two people, like when she said, this is my first time in adult life when I felt proud of America.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got a 300,000 six-figure income. You went to the best schools. Your husband went to the best school. I forget which one. Ivy League, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's in a six-digit employment value. And your first time proud of America is
Yeah.
now? You people should be kissing the ground of this country.
Yeah.
I mean, and for you to complain about being here, the best country in the world, where you're allowed to talk about the government this way, unless you get too far off and put your head too far above the water line, and you're gone.
Yeah.
But that's beside. We don't want to get into that right now.
Here's the thing you got to think of, though, too. I mean, the whole slavery thing was a bad thing, but bringing them here, if African Americans hadn't been brought here, where would they all be right now? Still in Africa, starving.
Well, actually, there's been tribal massacres since the beginning of time when the tribes were formed. And when the winning tribe won, it took the slaves of all the pretty girls and the hardworking people that they could maintain their little deal with. And then they killed the people that they didn't want for slaves. They just killed them outright. And the Arabs saw this and said, well, we'll take those. Because they were trading.
Yeah.
That's how slavery started. And there was a black king. Richard Angel had a program here before, and he had the tape of the interview with this black gentleman who was talking about the history of black America and how this king in Africa, somebody said, well, how can you sell so many of your people that go through that went through that gate that all the slaves went through eventually? And he said, I can do anything I want with these people. I can do what I want. I'm going to order 20,000 of them to go in the river and then to go in the ocean. And they did. And the lowest person in America of color has got a much better deal than the poor bastard that's still living in Africa, the average guy, trying to eke out a living on dirt and termites. And God bless them. They really have a hard life.
Yeah. We
And-
only unfortunately have 30 minutes, I was told by one of the head producers, but we can keep really talking.
We'll keep rolling, yeah.
I completely agree on this, and well, yeah, I mean, Obama's just just too far, to left for, I think. For me, I was a Ron Paul guy.
Oh, yeah.
45 minutes left. Oh, 45 minutes left. Okay,
Good.
great.
Okay, Ron Paul definitely.
Yeah.
My son actually turned me on to Ron Paul, and I started really understanding what he's had to say. And he basically he's basing everything on the Constitution.
Yeah.
And I went to. Actually, you were there too.
Oh, I
at
loved that.
The university.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
I actually worked my way up to the front and had him sign a poster for Tim.
Same
and
here.
I
Same
shook
here.
his hand.
Oh,
yeah.
same here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember, I was so excited about the candidate. I was outside of MCAT, asking people to get signatures, and I did that for hours and hours. I got a drink at Sean Kelly's. Then I remember I had the Norwalk virus that night because I got a meal at 5:15, another meal, and a glass of wine, and I just started all of a sudden throwing up, and they had to get me a ride home. I had Norwalk virus or something, but I just was working.
A restaurant that didn't treat the food correctly. I got sicker than crap after eating two hamburgers at a casino, which shall not be named.
And anyway, it's like I worked myself to sickness for that guy, pretty much. It was worth it. It was worth it because I loved Ron Paul. I've never been so excited. I wished he could have won, but there are a lot of people who loved the Ron Paul revolution.
His ideas were permeated, and he what he really did is he actually energized a generation, and he's caused a significant influence with his program and his philosophies.
The Republican Party just shafted all the Ron Paul supporters.
Of course they did. None of the media would even cover him.
Yeah, it was absolutely terrible. There are a lot of excellent letters to the editor about that were fantastic. That the Republican Party has pretty much put its own nail in the coffin, and perhaps that of America, by destroying Ron Paul. And same with the Democrats.
That's right.
It is just unbelievable they did that. He was a true conservative, a Ronald Reagan type conservative, really. And I loved Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan and Pope John Paul II ended the Cold War.
Yeah, they did.
Our Democratic Party said, oh, no, it was Gorbachev. Well, he had a little bit to do with it. But Reagan built up the pretty much weakened, Jimmy Carter pretty much gutted the military, and then sold us out and gave the Panama Canal back to, it wasn't a country, it was just jungle when we built the canal, I don't know. And he's now falsifying elections and being anti-Semitic against Israel. He's long past his time. He should just be shutting up at this point in time. Go build some houses for humanity and keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
I was a good president, right? Oh, you were a crappy president. You couldn't even get your ass off the toilet, man. You couldn't even run it. The hostage reception at your time was a joke when they tried to retrieve the hostage. That's why the Muslims knew in Iran that when Reagan was going to be in office, he wasn't going to take any crap from these guys. They knew he was going to be bombing right away. He was going to, because they knew he was a man of character and seriously wasn't going to put up with this happy horse hockey.
Yeah.
And they were scared.
Yeah.
And then the Democrats say, oh, Bush must have gone over there and made a deal with them. Bullshit.
Yeah.
It wasn't no deal made. They were terrified of what Ronald Reagan would do. And Ronald Reagan had the balls to call an airstrike on Gaddafi when they backed up a terrorist operation. Yep. We had Clinton, who was actually in bed with the terrorists. He was getting weapons from Hamas to give to the Muslims in the Yugoslavia, Sarajevo area. And then he backed up the Albanians, who were the proteges of the Red Commies, and the Albanians turned our pilots into the Nazis in World War II. The Serbians, Christian people, they hid the pilots and got them out of the way of the Nazi fascist war machine. And for some reason, Bill Clinton, oddly enough, he had the first deal with a few cruise missiles, killed a few goats and some ignorant-looking shepherds up there, and then blasted the crap out of an aspirin factory. Yeah. That was when Monica was going to talk to the people in the grand jury.
Yep. And no, it's just Bush that started a war without.
Oh yeah.
He's the only one who's ever, started a war for wrong reasons.
And there were no weapons of mass destruction. Bullshit. They were all run out of the country into Syria. They've got satellite pictures of it.
Maybe with the media, maybe if he hadn't had so much time, hey, we're going to go in there and we're going to go look for what your weapons of mass destruction, Saddam.
He knew that. He was shoving
how many
up.
freaking months did he have to get rid of them?
Way over time.
What does it take, like a day, maybe, to just haul ass?
They have satellite pictures of them actually taking the regular border guards and kind of kicking them out, and then the Rainbow Guard or whatever the hell they were called, Republican Guard, and their intelligence people just ran on trucks into Syria. And the comment was made when they were seeing how far along they were that after the first Gulf War, they were surprised at how sophisticated the lab equipment was, because of course everybody from Germany and France and Russia was supplying them with all this technology, and we probably provided some too, because there was a war between Iran and Iraq, and we took the side of Iraq just because of what Iran had done. But what gets me now is we got gravitas, Mr. Empty Suit, like all the politicians in this country are. Empty suit with blow-dyed hair, with their finger in the wind of opinion, the hand behind their back for the payoff.
Yeah.
And that's what the problem in this country is. The lobbyists know everything about everybody. They know which guy likes little boys, which senator likes brunettes, which one's on heroin, which one likes cocaine, which one likes British Columbia bud. They supply all that to whoever they want to get some influence to. And by that, after that, they own them.
Yeah. You know, there was a fascinating, I wished I could have gotten the tape. I think it was in the Spotlight. I wasn't able to order it. I would have liked to have seen what the documentation was. I don't know if you ever saw it, but there was some documentary that was going to be on TV. It only got on video and just only for a shortest time, that a lot of our congressmen and senators are child molesters and have little boy prostitutes they ship out.
Guess what? You know, you got me hooked on. You know what? I think there is a whole child molesting little deal. Like, look at all the judges that give these people a low bail.
Yes.
Like that Duncan guy that stalked the people to get the two kids and killed the boy and had his way with the girl, and now we're trying to give this guy some kind of mercy. That son of a bitch should be burned at the stake.
Absolutely.
Yep. And as far as I'm concerned, if somebody committed murder, forget this little drug injection. Take the weapon that they used and apply the weapon to the exact same spots that they used on their victim. That's an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've been advocating this for years, and a couple of the lady conservative talk shows that I listen to have that idea, and I'm really kind of glad to see
Bill
that.
O'Reilly really exposed Vermont and how lax they are on child molesters. Judges who just let out child molesters on probation who would rape children. Like, what in the heck? Oh, it's just unbelievable. Some states still won't pass Jessica's Law, which I support Jessica's Law.
I do too.
Child molesters, 25 to life.
So how many of those people are getting paid off or are basically into the same game?
Yeah.
I mean, you see all the time these people getting busted for child pornography and all that. And
it's a multi-billion-dollar industry in the United States.
And why do you think so many people take vacations in Thailand?
Yeah, yeah. Why?
Especially pedophiles.
Yeah, pedophiles, yeah.
You kidding me? You got money to go to Thailand? I feel sorry for the children of Thailand.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I do.
It is unbelievable.
Because traditionally in that culture, the sons are valued, and they used to sell the daughters to the whoever back in the day, China and whatever.
Yeah.
And they probably had some pretty nice-looking brothels, but that's a whole other side. But this world we live in, every 10,000 years, the Earth's orbit gets closer to the sun, and I believe that the cataclysmic events, as the wobbles and the shifts in our axis from 180 sometimes, and from a 15-degree, and every 10,000 years a great year. China has 14 great years, 10, 4. The Hopis have 4 great years, 10,000 years old. And you know what? I think that every 10,000 years, we have this situation, and the civilization that has established itself gets decimated. And then we get to try again.
Yeah.
The humans can evolve from whatever this thing, we got this part in our back of our brain that we still have to kill each other.
Yeah.
And I seriously believe that one of these cycles, and the Mayan calendar shows us ending in 2012 or maybe 2120 or whatever the hell it is, 2000. I believe that maybe out of all these 10,000 year cycles, we could maybe, under God's assistance, get it right. And I believe that we need, and there's some people that say that it's either going to be all gone, or possibly there's going to be this really instant kind of like Big Bang Theory, be like, you could have had a V8. It's like where we're going to have a massive jump in the evolution of our humanity. Instead of instead of having so much of the reptilian brain and all the other crap, which I'm not even sure I believe in, but evolution in some respects I believe, and I have beliefs about extraterrestrial beings having some influence on some of our the race. When you look at the Pleiadians allegedly kind of influenced the Aryan race. Oddly enough, the Hindu people in the Rig Vedas have pages of instruction on the flying machine, how to operate it. And when Oppenheimer blew off the first American bomb, he said, the atomic bomb, he said, this is the first atomic explosion in modern times. Because there's some cities in India that were turned to glass, obviously through nuclear confrontation, and at that point in time, and they're very smart people. And actually, there's an engineering school in India where the people that don't get into that go to MIT here and Cornell here. They're very smart. But I think that we're all humans under God. God comes in many flavors. He's not just like an old man in the sky touching the finger. People that believe in spirituality of Buddhism and practice that, Hinduism and practice that, and don't really basically want to treat their fellow man with an equitable, equitable, holy way. All of these people are the people that probably hold this earth together. And Robert Goldwolf said the second coming of Jesus is happening right now, and it's all the people in the whole world that are ascending into a state of spirituality.
Well, the second coming of Jesus will be when he comes on the clouds of heaven and judges the nations.
Well, he's not here yet. They're talking,
he's not here
they're
yet.
talking about the process has begun. That's what he said, and I believe it. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think that in the big, universal deal of things, like take global warming, for instance. Every 10,000 years, that's why there's global warming. There's all this, the sunspot cycles have been altered, and our sun creates the weather. And about the only effect that we could have on the weather is the parabolic, low-frequency radio waves that can heat up the ionosphere and HAARP in Alaska, and they have the same thing in Antarctica, can actually alter the path of the jet stream by heating up the ionosphere.
And the thing about global warming, too, is that they can't make up their mind about it. Like, first it was global warming because everything was getting warmer in the summer. Then we were having really cold winters. So,
and actually
so now they're saying, ooh, it's climate change.
Exactly, it changed the climate change. And they can't justify global warming because the last 9 years have been getting colder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing, too, is just that, last year, everything was so hot, it was triple-digit temperatures about what was 20 days out of July. And then now this year, we're having a normal summer. So last year it was, it's getting so bad that, by a few years it's just going to be uninhabitable. And then now that we have a normal summer this year, it's not going to happen that quickly.
Yeah.
They just change it depending on the time to just fit.
It's all a big farce so the United Nations can collect a carbon tax.
Yeah.
And you got Gore flying around with his little idiot jet stream.
Oh, yeah.
And selling carbon taxes. He's making money up the wazoo. Now they're talked about on Russia about doing a debit cash, which means people would have to give money to them. I said, no, that's not right. No. But the United Nations came up with this. It was 16 people that weren't even scientists, wrote these letters and went yada, yada, yada. And so you got Chicken Little going, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Hey, you know what? We're stupid in this country.
Yeah.
We could be having, and the left wing won't let us drill because they don't want us to win. They don't want America to succeed. They want us to fail. And they say, well, you can't drill here. Oh, you need to have a windmill. Well, guess what? A windmill's all fine and good till the wind dies down. Then you got to crank up a fossilized fuel to keep it going. So you have to run them in other ways. So it's a little bit of, you're getting a little bit of addition into the grid, which is all fine and good. I've nothing against that. And I believe that carbon dioxide, when it's turned by photosynthesis by a green plant, turns it into oxygen, is a good thing. We need to plant more plants and plant more trees.
Yeah.
And if there, in fact, is a bunch of carbon dioxide, like they say, we need to increase that carbon dioxide and create those plants so they can photosynthesize the CO2 into some oxygen for us to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other thing too is some of the scientists, and other thing that's swept under the rug is that there's no real correlation between carbon dioxide and the global warming, because they're saying like it's basically that what was it? That smoke causes fire.
Yeah, that's
Like
the way
saying-
to look at
saying
it.
the same, yeah.
Well, it's not like they said, oh, the seas are heated up by the radiation. It couldn't be the volcanoes underneath. Well, yeah, the sunlight's going to go maybe how many feet into the surface of the water. That's bullshit.
Well, you know what?
Okay?
Yeah.
The volcanoes do affect these currents. 1500, the sailors had the El Ninos and the La Ninas. And this one guy on the radio, I forget, it was one of these bozos, he says, oh, yeah, we can't really say that this El Nino and La Nino isn't something that man is affecting right now. That's how ignorant he is.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder why. Since the 1500s, how did we have global warming in the 1500s? Did everybody stand around and go? I heard this guy on NPR saying, I have figured out how to meter how much carbon dioxide I'm putting into the environment. I do my running, and I do this, and I ride my bike, and I kind of try to figure out how much I'm inhaling and how much I'm exhaling. What an idiot!
Wait, was he on dope? Is he serious?
This guy was stone cold serious.
Oh, man.
NPR was listening to
Whoa.
KUFM one night.
That's insane.
There's also this it's called.
We're having fun with this, folks.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we're the heretics of the so-called religion of the green.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything's green when I have green.
Yeah, I guess.
Fungus and algae. We need fungus and algae. That's green. We need green. We need more green plants with wide leaves converting the carbon dioxide into nice, friendly oxygen. And we need to take and stop the emissions from the vehicles. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
We've got the capability of doing that. As a matter of fact, our industry has the best capability in the whole frickin' world when it comes to emissions control. Why do you think the major companies moved to Mexico and then moved to China? Cheap labor and no regulations. They could just, and now right now, there's brown crap that come up when the wind changes to Brownsville, Texas, across from all the industrial whatever in Mexico. And people don't know what this crap is, but it hits their roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we should stop the emissions and the pollution and all that. That's a good thing.
I'm all for that.
But the problem is that to do that, the liberals have created this global warming boogeyman, which is a bunch of bull crap.
It's
It
making
is,
money
yeah.
for the UN to collect taxes so they can build a little army so they can actually take over the world. That's what
Yeah,
their plan
really.
is.
Yeah.
They've already set plans here, little biodiversity regions. We're in a biodiversity region. we're yeah, we are. Montana, Idaho, Washington, Oregon. It's one major biodiversity region. Why do you think we have these? Oh, we need the wolves. Oh, we need the grizzly bears. They want to turn it into an agrarian serfdom.
Yeah. Well,
The Rhodes, Cecil Rhodes, told the Queen at the time, or the King, whoever it was, I don't really care, the royalty, that his plan was to take back the empire. And so, ever since President Wilson, there's been at least 5 people from the Council on Foreign Relations kind of guiding our little government along. And our congressmen are too stupid to read the laws that they sign, and then all of a sudden you see something like one of the funniest, or not funny, but most ironic, some of the staff people that are helping to steer this thing into what it is. came up with, homeschooling. Well, if you're homeschooling, you can't have a gun because you can't have a gun within 1,000 feet of. But I think they finally threw that out. But,
Yeah.
But and what we need to do is acknowledge this. Think about the chemtrails. People watch.
Yes.
You look up there and you see these perfectly little parallel lines, and every
Yeah.
now and then you see a plane go. Whoa. True contrails are 30,000 feet, and it's vaporization of the cool oxygen turning ice crystals off the tips of the wings. Chemtrails are run through the JP-8 jet fuel, where they pick up Pseudomonas, as a matter of fact. And the Hughes Corporation patented the process because of the amphibians were dying, and so they've been ejecting aluminum oxide into the upper environment, is where they are, to start to slow down and diminish the ultraviolet radiation. And right now we got the Earth proximity and the sun, and then the sunspots have sort of stopped, and the sun actually dimmed one time. And it's like hyperdimensional physics have taken a point there. It was on Coast to Coast that actually the Earth is heating up, Mars is heating up, all the rest of the planets are heating up. They're actually emitting more energy than they get from the solar system.
Yeah.
It's hyperdimensional
Yes.
physics. And I think that what we need to do in America, we need to look through the facade, behind the vacuum, behind the stupidity, behind the ignorance of the candidate who shall be remain nameless, although he's still over in Israel.
Yeah. I don't like McCain either. I'm
Yeah.
voting in Ron
Well,
Paul going Constitution Party. I don't like McCain.
Well, I have a difference about. I feel I don't agree with everything Dr. McCain has. Where he's kind of straddled the fence. But as a pragmatist, I'm going to vote for him.
I'm not.
Yeah, with the exception of Fred Thompson, I don't think I've ever seen anybody who has not wanted to win as much as him, because Obama keeps doing all these different things that McCain could just hammer him about.
Oh,
and,
I know.
And what he won't do it because he wants to run a clean campaign.
Well, somebody needs to talk to him and say, you're going to lose this thing unless you actually stop responding and being a reactor. It was like Rush said what he should do is go stand next to an oil rig and talk about how and the newer ones, they're not the new ones, like down in my friend's Keith's son has 4 oil wells because he went down and he was working for a guy, a multimillionaire. He actually built a house for this guy. He had oil wells, and the oil wells are pumping oil. And they have to, when they get the oil wells put in, they have to replace all of the plant life and everything. And when it dies, they have to convert it back to what it was, like when it dries up. But what,
Yeah.
And oil is an energy source. Coal is an energy source. The French have nuclear reactors, and guess what? They didn't make one for each area. They made the same reactor for just being all over their country, and they have a process for actually reusing their uranium so that it continues it. And that's one of the cleanest forms of
Yes.
generation of steam to turn the turbines invented. What happened was these movies came out, and all these people were thinking, these movies this, and so our whole philosophy's been and whole situation about energy has been developed on a movie, off of a movie, or off of a book.
Yeah.
And granted, they've had a few problems, but our technology stopped them. Chernobyl, unfortunately, a little bit of vodka, back in the day. And people have actually moved back that lived there, said, we're already so old, we're going to die anyway. Why can't we move back to Chernobyl? And they have.
Well, one thing about this environmentalist thing, I mean, like you said, with the, stopping pollution, the earth is God's home. We're to be the stewards of God's creation,
That's
but
right.
we're not to worship nature. These radical environmentalists worship nature
That's
as the
right.
god and
They
goddess.
dance in little circles, dressed in
Yeah.
black with nude. Remember that was?
That's the problem. They don't mind killing babies.
And they don't mind killing babies, but God
They
forbid you should.
worship- yeah,
But God
I'll
forbid
believe
you should have capital punishment on somebody that killed 12 people.
Yeah.
Oh no, we can't kill that person.
Yeah,
Man,
it's insane.
It's
yeah.
insane.
It's just ridiculous too with like the grizzly bears. like just any of the bears with, you know, the guidelines for self-defense with them. I mean, just, you're pretty much, you get attacked by a bear, you're friggin' on trial.
You're
Yeah,
screwed.
Yeah, it's like if a bear charges you and you pull out your gun and you shoot it, it's like you did something wrong in self-defense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would actually
So-
happen in
so there-
1980. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. So, you know, the bears, they're just completely invincible, but...
And are they extinct in British Columbia or in Alaska?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I posed that question to somebody who wanted me to sign and donate at when I used to go to the farmers market in North Higgins, and I said, well, what are you talking about? They're not going extinct. We're ass deep in them in Canada and British Columbia. Oh, but down here? Well, of course they're not here. We've already populated this part of the country. The 48 states have populated. We have habitation. I'm guessing you folks want to just let the bears eat us or have us move somewhere else?
Yeah, so it's not okay to kill a bear in self-defense or to eat an animal, but it is okay to kill a baby because a woman didn't want to keep
Yeah,
her
that
legs
doesn't
closed.
make any sense.
That's right. If she,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
what-
it's a woman's body, it's a woman's choice. Yeah, it is your choice. You know what you're going into, unless it's rape or incest or something like that. I mean, we got to take responsibility in this country. Everyone's
right.
just a bunch of little freaking babies, really.
That's right. Nobody is taking responsibility. That's right. I'm going to sue. So we're the most litigious nature with litigations on just, you know, ambulance chasers.
Yeah.
The one thing, Michael Savage had it on real good last night.
Oh, really?
Real good. He was talking more about the evils of psychiatric medications for kids and
Oh,
ADD
yes.
and
Oh,
Asperger's.
yes.
That was
Oh,
excellent
yes.
last night. He was talking about this guy, Dr. Peter Bregan, who was a psychiatrist, and he's now on the other side. He wrote a book, Medication Madness. And I was talking about this on my show. The people who actually made the drug companies have wanted these autistic spectrum labels like Asperger's and everything for new drug sales like Risperidol, which was given for hardcore convicts, which actually makes you go real apathetic and
Catatonic,
indifferent
yeah.
and catatonic. And they target the bright kids and the best kids and the most beautiful kids.
That's right.
To dumb them down, to make them not able to function, to crush their spontaneity and their creativity, to dumb them down, and they have horrible side effects like twitching of the face, so that they cannot function because the New World Order does not want creative kids.
No.
They don't want bright kids, so they gave them these false labels of Asperger's that have been invented. This is what the doctor said. These labels have been invented by the drug companies to sell Ritalin and these other medications like Risperidol to children
Oh, yeah.
to make profits.
The government gives every school $13,500 for every student they put on ADD
Yes.
and put on Ritalin,
Yes.
which was invented at Roswell Park Cancer Hospital in Buffalo, New York, and it attaches to the same parts of the brain that cocaine does.
Yeah.
Because it's a mood elevator for people that are terminally died and they got all these tumors and crap, and
now about 20 to 30% to 20% 30% now have bipolar because of drugs like Risperidol, and they didn't have
sure.
it before. This is a nightmare to break the backs of good, intelligent kids, because that's not what they want.
hey, when my daughter wanted to go to Excel, they weren't going to do it. They were given people with bright kids had to actually go to Board of Education meetings and say, look, it's all fine. We'll pay $14,000 for the aid for this disadvantaged child, but all we want is our children to be challenged. Well, the problem is the NEA, the farthest left-winging largest union in the country, they don't want people to learn.
Right.
They don't want education on merit system. That's why they're against charter schools.
Yeah.
They just want to create a whole little cadre of people that they can suck the money through to give to their left-wing candidates that they support.
Yeah.
I personally think people should be allowed to just give themselves. They shouldn't be allowing groups like that to even donate in mass. It sounds to me very like it's an instigation of corruption in the system.
Yeah.
And the pharmaceutical companies have sent people around to where those kids have killed somebody. It's because when they hit puberty, they got to put them on the Prozac family because now they actually react to stuff. It's a 180-degree difference when you're a kid. An upper makes you down, and the problem is, everybody's just going crazy with this drug thing. There's so damn many drugs. They got a drug for a restless leg. Geez, all you
Yeah.
got to do is stick your leg out this way and it stop being restless.
Right. It's called your leg falling asleep.
I
Yeah,
mean, you can put both legs. Actually, if when your legs are going like this, you're actually emitting the psychonetic energy that you haven't used.
Yes.
You're not really doing anything harmful. And so, because everything is Chicken Little, the sky is falling. Everything, the media and the government keep us off our balance by keeping us afraid, keeping us worrying about this. That's what this global warming bullshit's about. It's something the Democrats can say, well, we're going to save you people from global warming. And of course Gore can have his big mansion and have all his electricity because he thinks so much about saving us from global warming. He's a bozo.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you what, we're stuck with bozos. We got more damn bozos in the political spectrum, and also evangelists are bozos. A friend of mine one time said, these people that get televangelists that aren't serious, that want you to send them their money, and they'll buy a prayer for you, and people send them their life savings. Some of these people are charlatans.
Some, but I like
I'm not
a
saying
lot of
all. I'm not saying all.
evangelists,
I'm just saying some.
The gospel's got to get out there.
Oh,
you
the
know,
gospel has to be get out there in its integrity and not
Yeah.
by somebody just collecting money. Like a friend of mine said, I want you people to take all your money. I want you to throw it up in the air. What stays up in the air is God's. What comes down is mine. And that's the philosophy some of these people go for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Scientology for one thing.
Yes,
I
yes.
find it highly ironic that Tim Cruise's wife got impregnated by L. Ron Hubbard's nitrogen gas frozen preserved spermatozoa. This was on talk radio, and apparently one of the newswomen at ABC was ready to ask the question, "How do you feel about your woman being impregnated by a spermatozoa from a dead old man?"
Yeah.
And the producer wouldn't let her ask the question because he didn't want to open the can of worms. I thought that was quite funny. I was listening to that on the radio as I was.
It's
driving
just
along.
funny to see how much she has changed. She used to be, like
Yeah.
your stereotypical bubbly little teenager almost, and then as soon as she married Tom Cruise, she's just like a robot now, basically.
It's like a Stepford wife, yeah.
I love Tom.
Yeah, in the time we have remaining, which is about 5 minutes, I do want to say again, this drugging down of our children with medications is a crime against humanity.
It is a crime
it's
against
a crime
humanity.
against humanity. The good kids who are intelligent and who are different, though, they're the ones who are going to be the next talk radio people. They're the ones that
That's
are really
right.
going to build something, and that's what the New World Order doesn't want. And
Of course not.
But also, I still am against the Iraq War. I didn't see the point in it.
I know, I understand that.
Yeah.
But once we're there, we can't just let people get killed randomly.
Yeah.
We have to take care of
I do
business
believe
and-
9/11 was an inside job. myself. I do believe it was. There's a lot of evidence of that.
There is.
But anything to say in the last few minutes that we have?
Let's go. But,
I think we need to get back to the innocence of Little House on the Prairie, those Bible-believing values. When we need,
Yeah.
like that show, Little House on the
There's
Prairie.
a rodeo lady that was rodeo in the 30s that
Yeah.
actually was a stunt writer for the show Little House on
Mm-hmm.
the Prairie, and I think that there's a whole it's like turning green into a religion. There is a religion. It's God, Jesus,
Yes.
and the angels and the saints, and it's Buddha, who's an avatar. The people that follow Buddhism are very religious. They won't even, some of them won't even inhale an insect.
Yeah.
And the Hindus, I think the religion in the world, it's all coming from a different perspective to the same place. The God.
Yeah.
And there's different names for God.
I-
And they have different names, but God and Jesus are I believe
Yeah.
in both of them.
Yeah. I believe that Jesus Christ, the Catholic religion is the one true faith. Actually, I believe that there's only one God, Jesus Christ. I don't believe that God comes to
Yeah,
you
but
in
we
many
can't be narcissistic enough to think that we're the only people that are going to go to heaven. The rest of the world isn't.
Well, Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man shall come to the Father but through me." Saint Peter said, "There's no other name under heaven by which men must be saved other than Jesus Christ." And that's the Word of God, the Bible.
Okay.
That's right in there. Just 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, it's 1 minute. Street legal news. I think we should all take a prayer for America.
Yes.
God bless America. God bless all of the people in Iraq. God bless the people in Iran. God bless the soldiers in Iraq, excuse me, not the soldiers in Iran. They're a bunch of fascist Islamo, never mind. I don't want to say that term. God bless the troops. God bless their families. God bless America. Lord knows we need it.
Yes.
God bless MCAT. God bless America.
All right.
Father and Son and the Holy Ghost.
The thing